I've just spent 6 hours playing STALKER Gamma. In that time, I have died to starvation twice, once because I couldn't afford food, and once because the food I could afford was so irradiated it killed me faster than not eating. I died to a pseudo-dog that appeared from absolutely nowhere while I was trying to loot a jacket off a corpse. I died to a can of beans that had been sitting in the zone for so long, it had achieved sentience and chose violence. In these 6 hours, I have made a total profit of negative 340 rubles, which means I am somehow poorer than when I started. I have experienced more economic anxiety than my parents during the 2008 financial crisis. I have felt the cold grip of financial ruin over a fictional currency that doesn't exist. I'm gonna boot it up again after this video. This is a problem, not a I should probably touch grass problem, though that too, but a genuine question of why hundreds of thousands of people have downloaded a mod specifically designed to make STALKER worse. Not different, not more interesting, just objectively more hostile and punishing than the already brutal base game. This is STALKER Gamma, a modification for STALKER Anomaly that exists because apparently the base STALKER experience of everything wants you dead and you own nothing wasn't quite punishing enough. See, Shadow of Chernobyl already gave you the zone, this 30-kilometer exclusion zone around Chernobyl where reality doesn't work properly, mutants roam free, and your life expectancy is measured in hours. The game hated you, the zone was indifferent to your suffering, you were just another corpse waiting to happen, and I did a video on this and you should go check it out. It's spelled, but you should still. But here's the thing, that wasn't enough. So the modding community got together and said, what if we made it worse? On purpose? What if we took everything hostile about STALKER and cranked it up until playing the game feels like a part-time job that pays you in PTSD? And thus STALKER Gamma was born, a collaborative mod pack featuring the work of hundreds of modders, all united by a single vision, to make you suffer. Harder economy, brutal survival mechanics, weapon degradation that would make a 1990s Vauxhall Corsa look reliable. A repair system so punishing that finding a bottle of gun oil genuinely feels like Christmas morning. This is the FPS the community made worse on purpose. Shadow of Chernobyl hated you by design, Gamma hates you by request. The question isn't whether the zone will kill you, it's why the fuck we begged it to try harder. And to answer that, I'm going to subject myself to this mod for far longer than is mentally healthy, venture into the zone with nothing, and try to understand what exactly it is about engineered suffering that keeps bringing us back. Before we go any further, we need to talk about what Gamma actually does to you, because this isn't just STALKER but harder, it's a complete philosophical overhaul of how the game works. The developers, and I use that term loosely since it's hundreds of modders working together, looked at every system in STALKER and asked, how can we make this hurt more? Let's start with the most important thing. You cannot buy guns. I need you to understand how fundamental this is. In Shadow of Chernobyl, in Call of Pripyat, even in base Anomaly, if you had money, you could buy a better gun. Kill some bandits, sell their gear, save up, buy an AK-74, it was a simple progression loop. Gamma said, no. And honestly, that's how I think most people should learn things. You figure it out by doing it, failing, adapting. Which is actually why I want to talk about today's sponsor, boot.dev. Because it's weirdly the only coding platform that seems to understand this. Most learn-to-code sites are basically textbooks with a nice coat of paint. Boot.dev is structured more like an RPG. You earn XP, level up, complete quests, fight bosses. But crucially, you're actually writing real code to do it. Back-end development in Python, SQL, Go. The stuff you genuinely use at a job, not toy exercises designed to make you feel productive while you learn nothing. There's even an AI tutor called Boots, a bear wizard obviously, who won't just hand you the answers, he asks follow-up questions until you figure it out yourself. Very zone energy. And if you get completely stuck, there are solutions available for every single challenge on the site, so you're never just staring at a wall. They also just launched something called the Training Grounds, where you can grind infinite extra challenges if you want more practice before moving on. Again, very Gamma. The median salary for backend developers in the US is over 100 grand, by the way, just putting that out there. Go to boot.dev, use code NOTSABER for 25% off your first year. The link is below. All the content is free to read anyway, so go check it out first. It's honestly an amazing product. And thank you so much to Boot.dev for sponsoring the video. Traders in Gamma will sell you supplies, ammunition, if you build them enough goodwill with their faction. Medical supplies, food, but weapons, armor, not for sale. The law justification is that the EU and UN cracked down on gun smuggling from the zone, and no faction wanted to deal with more private military companies breathing down their necks. The practical result is that if you want a gun, you need to make one. This is where the weapon repair system comes in. And it's genuinely one of the most complicated systems I've encountered in any game. Well, it's not too bad, but it's more luck-based. Weapons in Gamma aren't just a durability bar. They're composed of individual parts: trigger, barrel, receiver, bolt, recoil spring. Each part has its own condition rating, and each part can fail independent. When you loot a gun off a corpse, it'll typically be anywhere from 30 to 60% condition, although it can be lower. Sounds decent, right? It isn't. Because in Gamma, weapon condition doesn't mean durability, it means cleanliness, how dirty and fouled up the gun is. And the individual parts are what actually matters. Let's say I pick up an AK-74 off a dead loader. The gun is 45% condition. I open the details menu and I can see the trigger is 34% condition, the barrel is 67%, the receiver is 41%, and the bolt is 23%. Here's the first problem: parts below 60% condition cannot be repaired with standard tools. They're essentially worthless. So this gun, despite being 45% condition, has 3 parts that are unsalvageable garbage. Here's the second problem: I can't just take this gun to a mechanic and pay them to fix it. Mechanics in Gamma will clean your weapon, restore the overall condition, but they won't fix the parts. That's on you. So what do? I need to find another AK-74, preferably one with different parts in better condition. I field strip both guns, which requires a multi-tool for the barrel, and I start swapping parts. Take the 67% barrel from gun 1, the 82% trigger from gun 2, cobble them together into something that might not explode in my hands. But here's the third problem. Every time you move a part in or out of a gun, it gets dirtier. You're losing lubrication, introducing fouling. So now I need to clean it, and cleaning requires gun oil or solvent, which costs money I don't have. And here's the fourth problem. Even if I successfully repair this gun to 100% condition with all good parts, the moment I start using it, the parts will degrade. Slowly, yes, but inevitably. And when they drop below certain thresholds, the gun starts jamming. Not just regular jams, different type of jams. Misfires, the trigger fails, no-shot fires. Type 1 malfunction, failure to eject. Type 2 malfunction, double feed, requires unloading the entire magazine to clear. Each one requires a different input to fix. Some are just double tapping the use key, others require going into your inventory mid-combat. This is what replacing the simple buy gun from trader system with become an amateur gunsmith in a radioactive wasteland looks like. And the best part? This applies to pretty much everything. Armor works the same way. You can't buy it, you need to scavenge it off corpses. Find armor parts above 50% condition, repair them to 100%, then assemble them into something wearable. Need glue, need sewing kits, need repair kits crafted from toolkits that, once again, you don't have. But let's say you've managed all that. You've cobbled together a functional gun and some basic armor through sheer force of will and several hours of inventory Tetris. You venture out into the zone to make some money. This is where you discover the medical system. Your health in Gamma isn't just a single bar. You have overall health and you have individual limbs. Left arm, right leg, torso, head. Each can be damaged independently. Get shot in the arm, your aim gets worse. Get shot in the leg, you move slower. Chest wound, you're bleeding out and your stamina is tanked. But it's how you heal where it gets interesting. First aid kits and bandages give you temporary HP. The yellow health bar, it'll stop you from dying, but it's not permanent. To convert that temporary HP into real HP, you need to use post-heal items. Ibuprofen, fentanyl, antibiotics, and one of those is a bit stronger than the other, which costs money, again, that you don't have, and requires you to carry a full medical kit, which takes up inventory space you need for gun parts. Oh, and radiation? The zone has dynamic radiation patches that spawn randomly and shift during gameplay. You can walk through an area that was safe yesterday, and suddenly your dosimeter is screaming. The more irradiated you get, the more your max stamina drops. Get above 500 millislavits. Yes. And you start coughing, losing health. Hit yellow on the dosimeter and you need strong anti-rads immediately or you're dead. Anti-rads cost money. Money you've got by selling mutant parts and artifacts to traders. mutants you kill with guns that keep jamming, artifacts you find in anomaly fields that will kill you if you don't have a detector. Detectors cost money. And then there are the anomalies. The zone in Stalker isn't just radioactive. Reality itself is a little broken, it gets a little freaky at night. Pockets of space where physics doesn't work properly. Step in the wrong spot and you'll be electrocuted, burned alive, crushed by gravity, or just torn apart by forces that shouldn't exist. In the base game, these were dangerous but predictable. You'd see the visual distortions, hear the sounds, and navigate around them carefully. Maybe throw a bolt to trigger them, mark the safe path, and move through. Gamma said, like everything else, not enough. Anomalies in Gamma are denser, more varied, and more lethal. The visual tells are subtle. The audio cues are harder to pass. Electro anomalies that chain between nearby stalkers. Thermal anomalies that don't just burn you once, they cook you slowly over several seconds while you're trying to escape. Gravitational anomalies that ragdoll you and just fucking detonate. And you need to navigate these, because inside anomaly fields you'll find artifacts. Artifacts are the zone's weird gifts, crystallized anomalous energy that provides benefits. Radiation protection, stamina regeneration, bleeding resistance. Valuable both for personal use and for selling to ecologists who study them. But in Gamma you can't just pick them up and equip them, the artifact system has been completely overhauled. Raw artifacts are weak. A basic artifact might give you 5% radiation protection, barely noticeable. To make them actually useful, you need to empower them, combine multiple artifacts of the same type, using a special tool called an artifact melter that you can only buy from specific traders. It allows you to combine basic artifacts, which can get you empowered artifacts, which can get you an enhanced artifact. The progression is exponential, but the resource cost is brutal. And you can't just farm the same anomaly field repeatedly. Artifacts spawn randomly. You need a detector to find them. The basic echo detector barely works. You need the advanced Veles or bear detectors to actually locate artifacts reliably. And those cost thousands of rubles. So the loop expands. You need artifacts for protection, you need detectors to find artifacts, you need money to buy detectors, you need to sell artifacts to get money, you need to find artifacts to sell them. Everything feeds back into everything else. Every system requires resources from another system, and all of it costs money you don't have. And then there's the faction warfare. Gamma runs on a dynamic faction system where territories change hands based on who wins fights. The military might push into freedom territory, Judy might take over a bandit stronghold, Clear Sky might lose ground to renegades. And you're part of this. Join a faction and suddenly half the zone wants you dead. Clear Sky is at war with renegades and some others. Monolith is hostile to literally everyone. Freedom and Judy have been trying to kill each other for fucking 20 years at this point. Your faction choice determines where you can safely travel, which traders will sell to you, which missions you can accept, and who shoots you on sight. And faction relations aren't static. Complete missions for your faction and their territory expands, fail to defend key positions, and they lose ground. The zone is constantly shifting, constantly changing, and you're just one stalker trying to navigate it. Do you see the loop forming? Everything in Gamma costs resources you don't have. Every solution requires tools you can't afford. Every system is designed to put you in debt, not financial debt, but resource debt. You're always one broken gun part away from being defenseless, always one bad fight away from running out of medical supplies, always one radiation patch away from needing anti-rads you can't afford. And the only way to break out of this loop is to venture north, deeper into the zone, where the radiation is stronger, the mutants are deadlier, the anomalies are more frequent, and the stalkers you encounter have better gear. Because Gamma has geographic progression. The further north you go, the more dangerous it is, but the better the loot. Basic toolkits might spawn in the southern areas, advanced toolkits maybe in the middle regions, expert toolkits, the one you need for endgame repairs, only found north of the Red Forest, which is locked behind story progression. You can't even access the northern zone until you complete certain quest lines. So the loop becomes struggle in the south with broken guns and no money, venture north when you're desperate, probably die, lose all your gear, respawn with nothing and start over. This is the Gamma experience, not a game where you gradually get stronger and overcome challenges, a game where you're constantly on the edge of total collapse, held together by duct tape and spite, making incremental progress that could be wiped out by a single unlucky encounter. Shadow of Chernobyl was hostile by design, the zone didn't care if you lived or died. Gamma is hostile by request. The community looked at that indifference and said, we wanted to actively crush us. And honestly, it works, because there's something deeply compelling about a game that refuses to let you win easily. That makes every small victory, successfully repairing a gun, finding a can of food, surviving a firefight by the skin of your teeth, feels genuinely earned. But we're not here to philosophize yet. First, we need to actually play this thing and see what the community's engineering suffering feels like in practice. Okay, now that I've actually explained what this is, time to get into my bastardized gameplay that will certainly have many people in the comments shouting at me. It's whatever. Okay, fresh start. I spawn as Clear Sky, the faction of scientists and stalkers trying to understand and contain the zone's anomalies. They're the good guys, theoretically, less worship the rock like Monolith, less anarchist stoners like Freedom, just people trying to make the zone safer. Which, in retrospect, is a losing battle, but we'll get to that. I'm in the Great Swamps, Clear Sky's home base, proper backwater territory, marshy, radioactive, full of mutants. I've got a pistol, a lever-action rifle, and basic supplies. And before we go any further, I'm playing this wrong. I know I'm playing this wrong. I haven't looked up any guides. I don't know the optimal faction progression. I don't understand half of how this works, and I don't care. I'm just here to see what happens. I talk to Cold, the leader of Clear Sky. Grizzled, stalker type, been in the zone for years. He has that I've seen some shit energy. He's got work for me. Apparently the Renegades, basically bandits but worse, have been making moves on Clear Sky territory. Specifically, they're attacking the water pump station in the northern part of the swamps, and he wants me to go defend it. Fine, I can do that. I make my way north through the swamps. The visibility is terrible, thick grass obscuring my view, and there's this dead guy right outside the camp, which I don't know how he died, but I'm not gonna question it. My dosimeter clicks periodically, not screaming, but the background radiation here is no joke. Something moves in the fog ahead, fast, running straight at me. I manage to snap the rifle up, aim, and fire, and the thing drops right in front of me. Some kind of mutant dog, dead before it reaches me. Okay, that felt good. I reach the pump station. It's this decrepit industrial facility, raised, kind of above the water with stilts and stuff. It's quite cool, actually. Rusted pipes, the standard zone aesthetic, and it's under attack. Renegades, maybe 6 or 7 of them. Gotta hurt that. They see me, start shooting. I return fire with the lever action. It's slow, you have to manually work the action between shots, but it hits hard. I drop one, then another. They're returning fire, bullets hitting the cover I'm behind. I take a hit to the shoulder, my health drops, I use a bandage, and I keep fighting. Then I hear it, more gunfire from behind me. I turn, expecting more enemies, but it's Clear Sky, an exosuited soldier, one of those heavy armored guys, and a veteran stalker. They push forward, adding their firepower to mine. The Renegades fall one by one. Within maybe 2 minutes is over. We won. I go to loot the bodies. Broken guns, some ammo, not much. The real reward is completing the mission, and they get very, very defensive over the guys they kill. They say they'll shoot me if I try and loot them, which is a bit rude if you ask me. I head back to Cold. He's pleased. Gives me morphine, proper medical supplies, some military medkits, and money. Actual money this time, not poverty wages. Then he gives me the next job. Clear the route to the cordon. Renegades have been blocking this path between the swamps and the next region. He's assigning a Clear Sky squad to push through, and he wants me with them. The squad consists of maybe 5 Clear Sky soldiers. Decent gear, decent experience. We set out together. But they move so fucking slow. I'm not exaggerating. These AI soldiers move at approximately the speed of continental drift. We're covering maybe 50 meters every 5 minutes. I'm trying to push ahead, they're lagging behind, and I'm just standing around waiting for them to catch up. And if I get too close to the lead guy, he stops walking to try and talk to me, and I was just like, to fucking go. Eventually, and I do mean eventually, we reach the Renegade position blocking the route. It's a checkpoint, sandbags, fortified positions, maybe 8 or 9 Renegades defending. The Clear Sky squad opens fire, and I join in, bullets flying everywhere. We're pushing forward, the Renegades are falling back. I see one of our guys go down, caught in the crossfire. It's the same guy who kept trying to fucking talk to me in Asia, so I wasn't that sad about it. But we're still advancing, and we finally clear it. The checkpoint is ours. The route to Cordon is open. So we return back to Cold, and he gives us more rewards, more meds, more money. I'm actually building up some decent resources now. This is progress, actual, tangible progress. Then he gives me the final mission, the big one. The Renegades have been pushed out of the swamps. Clear Sky is now the dominant faction in the region, But the newfound dominance has attracted attention. The military has moved into the northern part of the swamps and set up a fortified position. They're a threat to Clear Sky's control. Cold tells me he's dispatched some of his finest soldiers to deal with it. I'm to join them and help clear out the military position. This doesn't sound too bad, so I make my way north, looking for the finest soldiers Cold mentioned. They're not here, it's just me. Either the game glitched or they all died on the way, or Cold's definition of finest soldiers is one guy with a lever-action rifle. Either way, I'm alone, and ahead of me is a fortified military position, maybe 10 soldiers, heavily armed, heavily armored, dug in with proper defensive positions, and even a fucking machine gun. This is going to go well. I attack from the south, get maybe 3 shots off before they spot me, and I'm taking fire from multiple directions. Dead. Reload, try from the east this time, different angle, maybe I can flank them. I kill one, then another, then someone I didn't see shoots me in the back. Dead. Reload, fuck it, let's try stealth, sneak in, pick them off quietly. I crouch, walk towards their position, so slow, so careful. I round a corner and there's a soldier standing right there. We see each other at the same time and I get absolutely pumped full of lead. Dead. Reload, die. Reload, die. Reload, die. I'm outgunned, outmanned, and the game has decided this is my problem to solve. Alone. I go back, reevaluate. I need better equipment. After some creative resource management, I find myself with upgraded armor and a proper rifle loaded with armor-piercing ammunition, much better suited for fighting heavily armored military forces. One more time. I approach the military position, same angle as before. I'm not getting creative, I'm just better equipped now. I engage. The AP rounds punch through their armor. Soldiers that were taking multiple shots before go down in 1 or 2. I'm still taking fire, still getting hit, but I'm surviving longer and I'm doing more damage. I push forward, kill 3, then 4, then 5. Keep pushing, the military position falls, all of them dead. I'm standing there, low on health, low on ammo, surrounded by corpses, and I won. I return back to Cold, and he's genuinely pleased this time. The military threat is gone, at least for now. Clear Sky controls the swamps. He gives me a gunsmithing kit, a proper toolkit for weapon maintenance, and a significant amount of money. The mission chain is complete. But I'm not done. I ask Cold about a man named Strelok. If you want the full context, go watch my Shadow of Chernobyl video. But the short version is, he's important to the zone's mysteries. Cold tells me to find Doctor. He's hiding somewhere in the swamps, and he might know where Strelok is. I search the swamps, and eventually I find him, a cave tucked away from everything. Inside there's a campfire, and Doctor is sitting there, warming himself. I ask about Strelok. He tells me Strelok has a hideout in Agriprop, the next region over, old industrial area, abandoned factories, the usual. Fine, I've got to leave. I leave the swamps, head towards Agriprop. The journey takes me through transitional territory, less swamp, more industrial ruins. I'm following the perimeter, hugging the outside of the region, trying to avoid the heavily irradiated center. Then I see it, a shimmer in the air, an anomaly. I try to avoid it, move around it, but the zone has other ideas. I step wrong, the anomaly triggers, the air around me explodes, fire and force, and my health drops to 0. I'm dead. And that's where it ends. I completed Clear Sky's mission chain, defended their territory, pushed out the renegades, defeated a military position through persistence and better gear, got proper rewards, and even found a lead on Strelok. Then I walked into an anomaly and exploded. That's Gamma. But here's what this showed. Gamma isn't impossible, it's just unforgiving. The victories felt earned because the failures were real. The military camp took multiple attempts and better gear. The squad missions required coordination and patience. The anomaly death at the end wasn't unfair, it was me being careless after a string of successes. And that's what Gamma gives you, a world that doesn't guarantee your success, doesn't hold your hand, doesn't promise you'll survive. But when you do succeed, when you complete that mission, win that fight, make that progress, it means something. Because the zone didn't owe you that victory, you took it. And if you want to experience this for yourself, if you want to see what engineered suffering actually feels like, I've been intentionally vague about a lot of Gamma's systems and details, the anomaly types, the artifact progression, the faction war dynamics, the deeper zone regions, the actual storyline beyond what I've shown. This video isn't a comprehensive guide, it's not meant to be, because Gamma is something you need to experience for yourself. Download it, spawn in, die repeatedly, figure out the systems through trial and error, feel that brief moment of genuine accomplishment when you finally succeed at something. I mean, it's free, so you might as well. Or don't. all they're for after the first death and never look back. That's valid too. But if you do play it, if you venture into the zone and subject yourself to the community's engineered suffering, you'll understand exactly why hundreds of thousands of people keep coming back to a mod specifically designed to make them miserable. So let's address the obvious questions. Why did hundreds of modders collaborate to make Stalker objectively worse? Why did hundreds of thousands of players download it, and why am I, after experiencing economic collapse and tactical destruction and random anomaly death, going to boot this up again? Because Gamma isn't about making Stalker harder, more so it's about making it unforgiving, and there is a difference. See, Shadow of Chernobyl, the game I covered in my previous Stalker video, was hostile by design. GSC Game World built the zone to be indifferent to your suffering. Mutants didn't scale to your level, the environment didn't care if you were ready, you were just another stalker in the exclusion zone and the zone had no obligation to let you survive. But here's the thing, you could still game it, you could save scum, you could farm easy enemies for gear, you could buy your way to better equipment. The zone was hostile, yes, but you could impose human systems onto it, economic loops, safe areas, predictable progression. I didn't even mention how in Gamma you can only save by campfires. Gamma looked at that and said, no, fuck that, fuck all of that. What Gamma rejects isn't difficulty, it's safety, every quality of life feature that modern games have spent decades implementing. Can't buy weapons? That's rejecting the power fantasy, the idea that money equals strength, that you can purchase your way out of problems. Can't fast travel without consequence? That's rejecting convenience, the compression of time and space that modern games use to respect your time. Repair systems that requires you to be an amateur gunsmith? That's rejecting accessibility. The hand-holding that says you shouldn't need an engineering degree to play a video game. Enemies that will absolutely fuck you up regardless of your preparation? That's rejecting fair challenge, the game design principles that say every encounter should be winnable if you play well enough. Gamma rejects all of it. And it does this because the zone, fundamentally, is the perfect foundation for this philosophy. The Chernobyl exclusion zone in Stalker lore isn't so much a place, but rather a consequence. It's what happens when humanity fucks with forces it doesn't understand and gets punished for it. The zone doesn't hate you, it just doesn't care about you. You're an insect crawling through the ruins of hubris. That indifference, that fundamental absence of malice or mercy, make it the perfect sandbox for engineered suffering, because what Gamma embraces is consequence. You waste ammo on a dog, you don't have ammo for bandits. You spend money on gun parts, you can't afford food. You fast travel to save time, you spawn into a kill zone. Every decision has weight, every action has a cost, but every shortcut has a price. And the game will not cushion these consequences for you. Think about most modern shooters. Call of Duty, Battlefield, even something like Far Cry. You run out of ammo, there's conveniently placed ammo crates. You're low on health, you take cover for 5 seconds, you'll regenerate. You die, checkpoint was 30 seconds ago, try again. The game is designed to let you feel challenged while ensuring you'll eventually succeed. It's a theme park, thrilling, but ultimately safe. Gamma is the opposite, and that's what makes the paradox so strange. Because here's what happens when you do succeed in Gamma. It feels real. Not real like realistic, real like earned, like you genuinely accomplished something difficult rather than progressing through a carefully designed difficulty curve. When I finally took that military position after dying repeatedly, that felt like winning, not progressing through a level, winning. The difference is, Gamma doesn't owe me these moments. Most games are designed around the player experience. They're carefully tuned to provide challenge and reward in measured doses. You're meant to struggle, but only enough to make victory satisfying. You're meant to fail, but only in ways that teach you how to succeed. The game is in service of your enjoyment. Gamma doesn't give a fuck about your enjoyment. The zone is going to zone, the systems are going to system, and if you happen to find satisfaction in navigating that hostile environment, great. If you don't, well, there's the Alt F4 button. And weirdly, paradoxically, that indifference creates space for genuine accomplishment. Because when a game is designed to ensure you succeed, success becomes expected. You're not achieving something difficult, you're completing the designed experience, following the path the developers laid out. When Gamma lets you succeed, when you do manage to complete that mission, win that fight, progress that storyline, it's not because the game decided it was time for a victory, it's because you navigated systems that genuinely didn't care if you made it or not. Modern games have spent decades getting better at making players feel good. Better tutorials, better difficulty curves, better feedback systems, all in service of ensuring you have a good time. And those are good games, I'm not shitting on accessible design. But let's be specific about what modern game design has become. There's quest markers that tell you exactly where to go, difficulty options that let you adjust challenge on the fly, auto-saves every 30 seconds so you never lose progress, tutorial pop-ups that explain every system, damage numbers floating above enemies so you know exactly how effective, progression systems designed to make you feel powerful, skill trees that unlock abilities, level scaling that keeps enemies manageable, loot drops calibrated to your current loot level. The entire philosophy of modern AAA game design is, the player should always know what to do, always feel like they're progressing, and never be truly stuck. And definitely never ever be genuinely punished. Obviously there's outliers to this, but you know what I mean. It's not a conspiracy, it's not developers being lazy, it's just what happens when games become mainstream products that need to appeal to the widest possible audience. You can't sell millions of copies to a game that tells most players to fuck off and die. But Stalker was never that. Stalker was the weird Ukrainian game that came out in 2007 and said, here's a zone, good luck. No hand-holding, no quest markers, no safety nets. You either figured it out or you didn't. And that created a specific type of player. People who wanted games to challenge them, not through design difficulty curves, but through genuine indifference. Who wanted to feel like they were exploring a dangerous place rather than just progressing through content. When GSC Game World made Stalker, they created something genuinely hostile. The zone doesn't care about your fun, it had its own rules, its own logic, its own systems. You were just visiting. Gamma is that philosophy taken to its logical extreme. But somewhere in that evolution we lost something. We lost the possibility of genuine failure. The stakes become fake, the challenges became designed, the victories became guaranteed. And Gamma gives that back. Not through better design, through worse design, through systems that are obtuse, punishing, and genuinely unfair. For a world that will kill you for making one mistake, for getting unlucky, for existing in the wrong place at the wrong time. And in doing so, it creates space for victories that feel real, for progression that feels earned, for successes that mean something because failure was a genuine possibility. That is the paradox. We seek out Gamma's engineered suffering, not because we enjoy suffering, but because that suffering makes success mean something. Shadow of Chernobyl gave us the zone, this place of indifference and consequence where you're just another stalker trying to survive. A place that didn't promise you success, didn't guarantee your safety, didn't design encounters around your current power level. The community looked at that and said, perfect, now make it worse. They built Gamma, a collaborative act of self-flagellation. Hundreds of modders working together across years to systematically identify and remove every safety net, every convenience, every mercy that had crept into Stalker through its various iterations. They removed weapon trading because buying power is too easy. They made repair systems complex because maintenance should require knowledge. They made survival brutal because comfort is the enemy of tension. They made death punishing because, without stakes, victory means nothing. And we downloaded it, hundreds of thousands of us. Voluntarily, we looked at this mod that promised to make our favorite game objectively worse, and said, yes, this is exactly what I want. Not because we hate ourselves, not because we're masochists, although maybe we are, but because somewhere in the evolution of modern games towards accessibility and broad appeal, we lost something important. We lost the possibility of genuine failure. The stakes became fake, the challenges became designed, and the victories became guaranteed. We lost games that respected us enough to let us fail, and this is especially poignant in today's fucking game market. It's just in shambles. And Gamma, this collaborative modification built by people who love Stalker enough to make it hurt more, gave that back. The community made Stalker worse on purpose, and somehow that made it better. Because when the zone finally lets you succeed, when you complete that mission, repair that gun, survive that firefight, make it one more day, it means something. Not because the game decided it was time for you to win, but because the zone didn't care if you lived or died, and you survived anyway. Well, that's the end of this rant. Go play the game. Once again, thank you so much to boot.dev for sponsoring the video. Make sure to use the link in the description to get 25% off your first year. Well, thank you so much for watching. This video, a little different. It was kind of like, not like a filler video per se, but it was a shorter video just to see if less monolith projects will get any traction. I guess we'll find out. And there was a lot of comments on my old Stalker video to check on Gamma because something, I suck, something, I should kill myself, something, along those lines. Anyway, yes, thank you all so much for watching. This is the third video I have in production right now, so hopefully there should be a bit more content. I have 2 more other videos planned. They're not just ideas, they're sponsored, but I think you'll enjoy them. Hopefully, anyway. I mean, obviously, I can't say one way or the other whether you'll enjoy it. That's up to you. Hopefully, they will be coming out rather soon. It's mainly just sponsor stuff I'm waiting on because, unfortunately, that's how I pay my bills. But yes, if you like me and want me to also pay my bills, make sure to like and subscribe. We are kind of close to 100k. I mean, I'm not sure if you've noticed, and I'd love to hit that this year. So if you want to support the channel, you know what to do. You can just hit that like and subscribe. But first of all, I would of course like to thank the channel members and the Patreons as per usual. That of course being Flapjack, 8th Heretic, Vested Voice, Pewter Hailstorm, Will Provine, Rasulki Ryler, Idenios Kiother, Andrew Sherman, Shaddix Rieslon, Ellie Kitty, Aroxano, Vinicus Franco, Ash Crowing, A Brick Wall, Crit Croc, My Horror Project, Proxy, Sign Up King, Ministry of Defense, and that is it. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting the channel. And if you'd like your name read at the end here with occasional updates every fucking full moon, maybe, then you know where to go. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and go check out STALKER Gamma, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.